Hey, Saucepot family, welcome back to another saucy episode of Sunday Saucepot. Tonight, guess what? We got another Italian guest tonight. We get a lot of Italian guests here. And this guest isn't coming from Mars, isn't coming from Uranus. He's coming from Jupiter. Michael Parenti, how you doing tonight?
Good afternoon, Marty. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to chatting with you a little bit. Thanks for having me.
All right. Comedian Michael Parenti from Jupiter, Florida. How's things going on in lovely Jupiter, Florida over there?
Well, I'm originally from Queens, New York, and I moved to Long Island and then to Florida 10 years ago. That's the track we all take. We go from Queens to Long Island to Florida. I came down here about 10 years ago. I call it it's like Montauk on steroids. It's a beach town with a lot going on. It's great. I love it here.
I do like Jupiter, and the past Memorial Day, everybody drove from Port St. Lucie to the Jupiter Inlet. I got there. I was the first one that they opened the gate. I was the first one through, because it's a dash when you go there. I don't know if you ever been there. You got to, reserve your picnic table, and it's such a beautiful area there in Jupiter.
Where were we at Du Bois Park?
Yes.
Yeah, Du Bois Park is great. They've got the little swimming area. People fish on the inland over there. Jupiter is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I really like Jupiter. So you just turned 60. What's that like?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you saw on my Facebook page. I just turned 60. I mean, I feel like I'm 18, 18, and I had my first kid 30 years ago. It seems like 5 minutes ago. So, I'm in good health, Marty, and I guess I feel pretty good. I don't want to think about my age. It's depressing to get older. I hate getting older.
How's the body compared to when you were like 30 years old, 20 years old?
Well,
Now,
after the age of 50, you don't want to look at yourself without clothes anymore. It's a scary thing. When you dress in the dark, you dress quickly, you make love with the lights off. It's scary, but I'm, I'm, I'm holding up as well as I can. I'm on the Peloton an hour a day to try to keep my calories down.
yeah, I do my best work in the dark.
Yeah, as we all do.
Uh, so you attended a school where they taught you how to make wine in the third grade.
Yeah, you read my Facebook post. It's actually that I had an epiphany one night and I came home and I wrote that in about 5 minutes. So I just shared some of my life stories because on Facebook, I'm kind of a one-hit wonder. I don't really post anything lengthy. My third grade teacher had us make wine at the beginning of the year. We stored it in the back closet so it fermented. And at the last couple of days of the year, she had everybody drink it. And when I tell you there were 20 or 30 kids throwing up all over the place in third grade, it's the most memorable event of my life, I think, at this point.
So that was in Queens, third grade. You were in Queens.
I think it was third grade, but I was Queens, Howard Beach, and I went to St. Helens Parochial Catholic School.
So do you think that they still allow teachers to teach students how to make wine in the third grade?
No, are you kidding me? You can't do anything anymore. Forget about it. That was, I don't remember anyone even getting in trouble, quite frankly. Like the principal didn't come talk to us the next day. The teacher was there the next day. I mean, I don't think even anyone got in any trouble. It was just like, the teacher messed up. It's all okay. Everybody made it home safe. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. The things that are going on in the school systems today are nothing. Yeah, but I mean, back then, I was never a wine drinker when I was a kid, but being Italian American, you're a kid, you have wine with your dinner.
That's a good. My grandparents used to make us drink a little thing of wine while we eat, and we all hated it too. They're like, you can't eat until you finish that wine. It was disgusting. But you're right. But I think at this point, everyone was looking at it like we have to drink this now. Like it didn't seem like anyone was used to drinking wine in that grade.
So who was the teacher? Was it an
Mrs.
Italian?
Graganella?
Oh,
Mrs. Graganella was her name. Never forget her.
Okay. And how did she take the idea of, well, let me teach the students how to make wine? Uh,
I guess it was, in the science book they teach, how you make wine. It had to be. It was a science project, so to speak.
okay.
So I didn't know we were actually had a taste of what we made though, but I don't know how. And what happened was, Marty, is that a bunch of the kids like me couldn't drink it, so we gave it to other kids. So our kids were drinking 3 and 4 glasses of this stuff.
In the third grade, were they smoking cigarettes too?
I'm sure some of them were. This is old school time. This is a long time ago.
And then after school, we go to the garden hose and drink from the garden hose. Everything was all
Yeah,
right.
there's no bottled water. Imagine spending $5 for a bottle of water. I mean, come on.
Times are so different. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, it's just insane. That that's I try to talk about that in comedy. People get it. The older crowds, they get it. It's just that's what makes it good.
so now from the third grade, now you go a few more years and you went to school to be a financial advisor. And somewhere along your path of life, you stepped into comedy from money man to funny man. How did that
Yeah.
happen?
Well, the comedy story is an interesting story that I've told before, but I think people would like to listen to this. So I still am a financial advisor. I've been an advisor for almost 40 years now. I help people with finance and invest their money in stocks. I'm a big stock guy. But about 20 years ago, for my 40th birthday, I wanted to do stand-up comedy. Are you familiar with Governors in Long Island?
No, not really.
Okay, so I probably was about 35, 36 years old. I went to a comedy show there and they had a pamphlet, come be a stand-up comedian, take our class. They actually give a stand-up comedy class. So I put that brochure in my briefcase for 5 years. And I just occasionally said, I'm going to definitely do this one day. I'm going to do this one day. But then when I hit 40, I took a leap of faith and I took the comedy class at Governor's Comedy Club about 20 years ago.
All right.
But I,
And,
but I, but I was nervous and I didn't want to do it, so I carried that thing around, saying, "Well, one day I'm going to do it." And then I got the nerve to go ahead and do it.
and that was in where was that?
That was Governor's Comedy Club,
In New York?
Rockville. Yeah, in Rockville Center, Long Island. It's actually a fairly famous comedy club. Dice Clay, a lot of Seinfeld's been there. It's been there a long time.
And your first appearance, was that a paid, or was that just
No, no. Do you interview a lot of stand-up comics, Marty?
I do?
So in the beginning, it's basically you just can, whoever will have you because you're not too good. So you don't get paid at all. You're just happy to be there. And it was a graduation show. We all graduated for the comedy class. We invited our friends and families down to watch ourselves humiliate each other. And I didn't get paid for probably the first 2 years in comedy, like most people.
So you were on stage for 2 years and you were just enjoying every moment of it.
Well, I was trying to enjoy it, but you're so nervous in the beginning. I think it's hard to enjoy it. I was almost more relieved to get off the stage and than to make people laugh. It's just so nerve wracking, and sometimes it doesn't go very well. But you need that practice to get good.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, and they say it takes about 10 years on stage to kind of hear your real comedy voice, where you're comfortable enough in your own skin to kind of be yourself up there. And I think that's about right. I think 10 years. I think you need about 10 years for the most part for most people to kind of be comfortable up there.
So have you performed with any celebrities, any names?
I've opened up for a lot of pretty popular people. Adam Ferrara, do you know him? I've opened for him. I've opened for Mike DiStefano, and a lot of the big comics down here do cruise ships and stuff. And I've opened for a lot of them in a lot of different shows.
So here's my experience with a cruise ship. I went on a casino cruise ship one time,
Right.
and I brought 300-400 bucks with me, and it was a 3 hour cruise, and I'm thinking, that should be good. 100 bucks an hour. That should be
Yeah,
good.
sure. Yeah, sure.
I went through that money in 15 minutes, and here I was. I couldn't get off the ship.
Well, did they have a cash machine on the ship?
Nope.
Oh, they didn't.
No
Oh,
ATM. And
that's not a good
the
idea. That's dumb.
the buffet, I already did the buffet, and so there I was, stuck on a casino cruise ship, and I told myself I am never doing this again.
What do you play? What game do you play? Blackjack?
Roulette.
Oh yeah, roulette. I never play roulette. I like playing Texas Hold'em when I go to the casinos.
Yeah, it's all fun, I consider going to the casino like I would going out to eat. I don't
Yeah,
go there all the time. I go there for fun. You're going to spend money no matter what you do. So if you're going to go spend money, you might as well take a chance at winning something.
yeah. I trade stocks all day, so I have a lot. I feel like I'm kind of gambling all day, so I'm not a big gambler. Actually, I don't even like to lose a couple $100, but so I just like playing cards to kill time.
So you're a money guy. You ever heard of Dave Ramsey?
Oh, sure. He's a Christian, Dave Ramsey. He runs a whole school and stuff. He's got a whole referral networking program.
What's your opinion about Dave?
I don't know enough to give an opinion on him. I'm sure he's not saying anything bad.
No, he
He,
gives a lot of good advice. I'm just
yeah, he's talking about, he's more like pay off your debt type thing, overall financial planning. I'm more investing in individual stocks and bonds.
So what's the hottest stock out there right now?
Well, NVIDIA is the artificial intelligence company that has the chips that everybody's using right now. That stock tripled in the last 12 months, and it had a 10-for-1 stock split. That's the big stock right now, NVIDIA. Artificial intelligence is 119 right now. It was up 13 today.
Oh my God.
Yep, you just buy some.
NVIDIA with an N?
Yeah. NVDA. The symbol is, Nancy Victor David Apple. I'm looking at it right now in front of my computer.
All right. All right. So we're speaking here tonight with Michael Parenti, comedian Michael Parenti out of Jupiter, Florida. And if people want to find out more about your comedy, how can they do it, Mike?
Best way is to become a Facebook friend of mine because I post all my upcoming shows there. But my website has my information, which is www.mikeparenti.com. MikeParenti.com.
So we were talking earlier, you're 60 and I'm 55.
Yep.
When we were young, Mike, there was just two genders. Now it's a little different.
Well, you saw my gender joke, right? I said my wife recently went to a gender reveal party, but since there's no more genders, nothing was revealed. That's my gender joke.
How many genders are there?
I Googled it the other day. There was like 72 genders, and then I posted it on Facebook, and Facebook blocked it. Nobody could even see that I posted that. I'm like, I didn't say it. Google said it.
So, what are some of the other genders?
I don't. Hey, Marty. Hey, our generation is the dumbest generation. We thought there were two genders. How dumb are we? There's. I recently learned this, and I actually asked the crowds this when I perform. There's something called gender fluid. Have you heard that one, Marty? I'm not kidding. Have you heard that one?
Tell me about it.
Gender fluid. Some days you're a man, and some days you're a woman. I'm like, no one even heard of that. So you could be either one. I'm so glad my wife is not gender fluid because I'd be like, honey, you want to have some private time? And she'd be like, no, I'm a man today. I'm like, oh, sorry. Can we go to Home Depot instead? Something like that. That's my gender joke. It's just ridiculous. The whole thing is just a joke. But, I don't want to offend people because I know there might be some people in the audience who are, and so I try to do my comedy universal so that I just play dumb about it. Like how I'm dumb. I don't know all this stuff instead of making fun of it. And that's the key to doing all this edgy material is to kind of do it on the edge where you're dumb about it, not you're making fun of it. Follow?
Yes, I hear what you're saying.
Is because a lot of stuff's all limits on the stage now.
Now, okay.
Yeah, a lot of you can be very careful.
And for the past 4 years, it's been like that. You haven't seen anything the way you've seen it these past 4 years.
That's
And
true.
I believe it's our leaders who are allowing what they decide is okay and what's not okay. And I think if our leadership should change, so is our society.
That's a very nice way of putting it. I couldn't agree more. I don't know what's happening. Everybody's lost their sense of humor. You know what happened, Marty? Nobody gets beat up anymore. If I went over my friend's house when I was 17, wearing a Speedo, they beat me up. And then boom, I wouldn't wear Speedos anymore, But now everybody just gets affirmed in everything they do. And so everything is okay. But it's not okay. It's not.
Talking about getting beat up, have you ever gotten into a fight on Facebook?
Yeah. So, I'm Italian and I'm a Christian, so I try to behave myself on Facebook, but all the posts get me so mad. So what I do now is if somebody posts something dumb, I just post Bible verses back at them, and that really pisses them off. So I enjoy that immensely as an Italian. So, Marty, Italians like to fight. Like we like to fight and get in each other's face, but we're okay with it. And a lot of people aren't. So the Bible verses are a way for me to kind of really push back on people without saying anything myself. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we're not yelling. We're Italian.
We're just talking. Yeah, my wife's like, "What are you yelling for?" I'm like, "I'm not yelling. I'm excited. I'm just talking. This is the way I talk." I guess go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, as a comedian, I'm sure you gotta go to different states and stuff, and I'm sure that you enjoy flying.
No, I'm afraid to fly. I've got a little better over the years. I am terrified to fly. I mean, you know what pisses me off, Marty? When they get up there and they tell you to buckle in. And they show you how to use the buckle. I'm like, you people, do you think anyone on this plane doesn't know how to use a buckle? They're still showing you how to buckle that thing in. And then they tell you that if we start to go down, they give you a life preserver that you have to blow up yourself. Just think about it for a second. I don't want a life preserver. I want a parachute. If I'm going to be going down, I need a parachute. And so no one listens to them because it's all useless anyway. Well, I mean, on a ship, they don't give you a parachute. They give you a life preserver. What am I getting a life preserver for? Could you imagine on the way down, you got to blow it up yourself, too?
How about when they tell you, you're approaching 40,000 feet?
You know why they do that, Marty? Because they want to sell liquor on the plane. That's the only reason they do that. Because I'll have a decaf coffee. Oh, you're approaching 40,000 feet. Make it a double vodka. How much is that? $600? All right, no problem. I mean, you know what I do when I'm on a flight that I do more than ever? I pray. I pray a lot. I mean, if I was flying every day, I would be a priest, Marty.
Father Michael here to give his sermon on the airplane.
Yeah, the funny thing is people ask me, what I do. I tell them I'm in finance and they get their eyes glaze over. They don't care. They don't want to talk about. And if I say do comedy, boom, people just love talking about comedy. Like that's why you reached out to me for the comedy part of it, right?
Absolutely. Well, I reached out because you're a fellow Italian American.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And my act more and more, I'm bringing my Italian into the act more and more. I didn't do any Italian references till about 5 years ago. I just don't know why. But lately, it's more and more Italian. I'm just kind of mixing that in my whole act.
So do you got any upcoming shows?
I always have something. A lot of my shows, Marty, are actually private shows in Florida. Like all these, like I've been in that place in Port St. Lucie like 3 or 4 times already. Valencia.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to be in the 29th with Dean Napolitano in a community in Port St. Lucie.
And that's August 29th?
Yeah, that's August 29th. But I didn't even write down the name of the place because it's a closed show. That's just for the private people in that community. So I probably do about 2 of those a month.
And you got videos on YouTube as well. So people want to check you out, they can go on YouTube and check you out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, your son, Andrew, is also a comedian.
Yeah, so that's a great story too, because when we did some comedy in the church, he was like 7 years old, and it was a talent show. So I gave him. I swear, he's on my website, right? Did you watch that on my website? I
Yes.
gave him the text cards, and I flashed like a picture of an elephant, and he knew the elephant joke. So we had like 10 jokes we did, and he still opens up for me. He's turning 21 in a couple of weeks. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw some of his stuff. He's a pretty funny guy. He takes after his father.
Yeah, but he's different. He's more like a one-liner. I'm a storyteller, kind of like Sebastian. I kind of tell long stories. Andrew's more of a one-liner.
Yeah. And I guess he got his interest in comedy from you, right?
Yeah. Well, I put him on stage when he was little, and he did it for 3 or 4 years just because I told him to do it. And I had no idea he was going to still be doing it with me like 10 years later. It's so great to go on the road on a 3 hour road trip with him and do comedy together. Like, forget the comedy. I would never get that much time together with a 20-year-old kid. It's awesome.
So you guys have performed together.
Most of the time, he opens for me. Yeah.
Tell me a story that sticks in your head
About him?
about the two of you performing together. You guys
I
were
remember
backstage and you guys had a heckler and
no, the one that sticks out of my mind that me and him just can't stop talking about is I got hired to do like an assisted living place, and some of these assisted livings is like not really living; it's just like really bad. And it was so I did that. I had two shows in the same place. One was assisted living, it was like for memory care unit, and I bombed twice within like 2 hours. It was pretty memorable actually.
you bombed. I can't see
Oh
that.
yeah,
I think you're a really funny guy. You
well,
know,
everybody they just weren't listening. These people just weren't listening, and me and Andrew just kept looking at each other and looking at our clocks and say, "How long do we have to do this for?" Then we went down the elevator and did it again, and it was just as bad. It was just hilarious. You got to take the good with the bad, Marty.
yeah.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just don't connect with an audience. That audience was particularly tough though because they weren't mentally able to follow my stories. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
So you have to. That was just memorable. Me and Andrew have had a great time, whether it goes well or not. It's all good.
So, as far as comedians in 2024, who do you feel is on top of the game right now? Besides
Well,
Sebastian, of course.
Bill Burr is amazing, and I
Oh
forget
my gosh.
he's
There you
amazing.
go.
You know what? Because Bill Burr could talk about abortion and make it funny and not offensive. Because he everything he says is funny. If you were with him at dinner, he would talk the same way. The guy is just really a genius. And I forget the other guy. I like who always is making fun of lesbians. The African American guy. What's his name? He's great. What's his name?
That's funny
Dave
all by
Chappelle.
itself.
Dave Chappelle. The guy's
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah, Dave Chappelle.
I love him and I love Bill Burr. Now, a lot of people think because I work clean, they're like, oh, you don't like dirty comedy. That's not it at all. I like dirty comedy. I just don't do dirty comedy. It's not who I am. I don't,
Right.
when I'm who I am. So that's why I'm not against it. I think he did
There's
great.
uh you're familiar with Nikki Glacier?
Yes.
So now let's go back for a minute. We got a couple minutes left here,
Okay.
Michael. So let's go back in time to George Carlin and Richard Pryor. How did we evolve in the comedy scene to having female stand-up comedians discuss the way that Nikki does? I mean, yeah, some of it's funny, but I mean, you're a woman. Is that just old school thinking on me?
No, yeah, I guess I'm an old school guy too. I mean, women want equal pay, they want equal time, and they want to be like men when it comes to being dirty on stage. And when I saw Lisa Lampanelli and Nikki Glazier, I think it's disgusting. I don't think they're funny. They're just not like they don't know. So I don't.
I got to be honest here, okay? So when I see a woman talking like that, I can't think of her any less than her being, let's say this very politely, immoral. You know,
Yeah.
you can't think of a woman who does a stand-up comedy act like that, like she's sweet and innocent. You just can't think of that after seeing a performance like that. That's just my opinion.
You're old school, Marty. You're old school like me.
I am old school. So
Yeah.
tonight, our special guest was comedian Michael Parenti. Make sure you check him out. Once again, the website.
Oh, sorry. MikeParenti.com. www.mikeparenti.com. My email's on there. My phone number's on there. You can reach me on there.
We got to get some shows for you that are not private shows. Well, I'm going to try to work on that.
Once a year in Jupiter, I do a show at the Performing Arts Theater. That's a nice open show. I do plenty of open shows. Just most of the people hire me to do these communities.
All right. So make sure you check out Michael on his website. Add him as a friend on Facebook. Check him out on YouTube. Mike, thanks so much for being our guest here on Sunday Sauce Pot this evening.
God bless you. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Marty.
As always, who loves you?
Who loves you, baby? By now you ought to know. Well, I can't always let it show. By now you really ought to know. This is one thing I don't want to blow. Baby.
Make sure you follow Sunday Sauce Pot on YouTube and Facebook. We got a lot of great shows for you guys. Really appreciate you tuning in and watching. Thanks a lot, guys. As always, who loves you, baby?